Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eunice Sibiya, as introduced. I am with FNB, First National Bank. I look after the program called Consumer Education on Financial Literacy. What we do, yes, we come from a financial institution, but our primary role is to go out there and have conversations around this thing, mula, kaching, and all the things that we do with money, around money, for money, and without money. We do a whole lot of things. And, all right, the presentation is coming. The problem is the majority of us never had the privilege to be taught how to manage finances. We know money, and we know it very well. But what exactly to do with it, we do know. It's there to be spent. The trick is the how. Most of us were never taught the how formally. Some people have been fortunate to be taught the how here and there, informally, maybe by their parents, by their peers. At times we copy people. You don't even know where the model comes from. You just see them doing things and you think it's cool and you follow. It is the how that we are lacking. And most of the things that we do and we do wrong are based on the lack of the formula of the how, or we copied wrong from other people. At times you want to copy the right thing, but because you were not there, you don't know the rationale, you don't know the formula they are using, you just copy halfway. And you don't know, it's like someone copied a recipe for muffins and your muffins come out like this and you're like, what did I do wrong? It's because you didn't follow the recipe, right? With finances, it's like that. Almost with everything in life. If you don't know the formula and you never taught the formula properly, you're going to make flops along the way. There's the presentation. When I nod, I mean next slide. I'm talking to the window people. I hope they can hear me. Are we good? Hello. I'm nodding, I don't know. Thank you, and I nod again. Fine. My first slide, I wanted to say, with us engaging with money, we along the way adopt certain tendencies. So those are girl tendencies, the things that we do with money. You see, we want black numbers, a very small, tight black number to show the work. You know the gifts that were plucked there to say they are there. I had to cover mine with a jacket today because I respect you ladies. And there's a cosmetic bag. There's a top billing wedding gown there, or our perfect wedding, whichever you choose or you think you qualify for. There's a beautiful car. There are them shoes. You go out to dinner or with friends. We know how to spend, and we spend very well. The next slide shows a little bit of boy tendencies. Just by the picture, we'll see the things that they do. I think some of you will identify the DSTV ad. The guy, instead of staying at home and watching DSTV, he decides to go out. Going out, all his friends order drinks and they entertain everyone. He has to pick up the bill. He didn't budget for that. They like clothes too. There's a beautiful watch there. It's very expensive. They want to move out of home to have their own apartment so that they can have nice goof parties and bring them girls. There's a beautiful car, and there's something next to the car, as you can see. The car doesn't go alone. It has to have something that fits the model of the car. Then there's a last pack there. There's a nice drink. And you see these days, these drinks go by name and surname. Eh? It's no longer just Heineken. I know, it's a name and a surname, and you pay for that. Next slide, please. They're very expensive. So, the conversation then needs to start by why exactly is it important? Or is it at all important for us to talk about finances? I'd like to believe that we agree that we need to, for various reasons. Some need help, some just need to polish up, some need guidance here and there. Some need to plan, some are just blank and they say, I'm a clean slate, talk to me. But I think we all want to agree that it is important for us to talk about finances. But the very important factor is that why can't we get it right? What are we lacking? So there are obstacles that are preventing us from being able to manage our finances in a very productive and fruitful manner. There's supposed to be knowledge. You know, when you play a game, they say there are rules of the game, yeah? For you to enjoy the game and participate well in the game and do well in the game, you need to know the rules of the game. So we need to know the rules of the game, this game called finances or financial management. And there are obstacles because you need to have discipline to manage finances. And the majority of us do not have any discipline whatsoever, or it's poor. You know, it's very, yeah, there's a problem. There are societal pressures, and there are individual pressures or issues. And most of us have now adopted this thing of instant gratification. I see it now, I want it now, and I shall get it now. On my own, or I steal somewhere, I borrow from someone, or I get blessed by someone, I shall get it. I'll make a point of getting it. It's those issues that we need to work around. And lastly, for us to manage our finances, we need to have goals. I want to believe that all of us, when we go to sleep, we do dream, don't we? We have dreams. Some of us have very complicated dreams, very overpolluted dreams, but they're dreams nonetheless, and I want to believe that we dream of good things. How are you going to make sure that your dreams do come to show? There's a method. There's some work that needs to happen. Otherwise, you're going to be a good dreamer until you die. Nothing will ever come to play. When your kids go to school, in the subject called EMS, they are taught something, a little bit about finances, and there's a definition that they are taught about needs and wants. And your children are taught that needs are things that we cannot live without. And the examples thereof will be shelter, water, food, clothes, the like. Wants, on the other hand, are things that we actually can survive without, and we live perfectly without. And what are those? Unnecessary stuff, right? Recklessness. There's a word I'm looking for. It's a Friday afternoon. English is going. Luxury, you know? Things of luxury that we don't actually need. But there are other items that could fall into both. Clothes could be both needs and wants. If we all need clothes, we are clothed right now. But if I have an obsession to follow every single fashion trend, and I want to make sure when I walk in here, my goodness, everyone stands up and they have palpitations because I'm wearing this and that and the other. When I walk in the room, I want people to whip up their phones and go onto calculator because they need to add up the sum total of the clothes that I'm wearing. It's still for clothes, isn't it? But is it necessary for me to be on that extreme? No. Do you get my point? A cell phone could be either a need or a want. So if I don't need a cell phone, I'm okay without a cell phone. It's okay, I don't need a cell phone. But for somebody, it is a need. I'm here today from Joburg. I need a cell phone to communicate with people. But also, what kind of cell phone am I going to buy? The latest, the biggest, the newest, so that I can display to everybody that I have the one that came out yesterday? Or do I just need a nice cell phone that is functional, enough for my needs? Because most of us have very complicated cell phones and they're not cheap, but we hardly even use some of those apps that are on those phones, and we're paying for them, by the way. Needs versus wants. Yeah? Now, as adults, because we can make the choice, I can convert wants to become needs. I can need the want. Right? And that's where the problem is. So, because we don't have the right method, she's finished. We find ourselves doing funny things. We have funny tendencies here. I call this one hashtag Operation Fat Alles. This is the day, this is payday, in the morning, in the dawn of payday. The sun is not out yet, as you can see. But Mr. is waiting there by the ATM so that when he gets that SMS to say, ka-ching, the money is in, he's the first one to ka-ching, take it out. Why? Because he wants to go and play Monopoly with the money. He knows who's getting paid this month and who's not. Rob Peter to pay Paul and run away from John and all the Mashonisas and Auntie Rose. and the colleagues at work. So, because we have issues with our finances, you therefore get to a point where you feel, I want it all in my hand so that I can deal with it the way I want, or the way I want to. Then another trend is numbers don't lie. Numbers do not lie. So in this regard, we talk about statistics. And statistics show that consumers spend 4 times more on clothing than on health care. Consumers spend twice more on alcohol than on education, their kids' education. Consumers spend 2.5 times more on alcohol than on education again. On insurance. The next lot of numbers says, financially speaking, this is now from Stats SA, they say only 6%. It could have grown maybe to 7 or 8, but bottom line, it's under 10% of South Africans are going to be able to retire comfortably. The rest of us, the 90%, will depend on the state, funding, family, and your children, poor kids. 68% of credit-active citizens are over-indebted. These numbers do not lie because they are pulled from the data of South Africans' credit-active consumers' behavior. These numbers don't lie. These numbers represent you and I. Are you in the 6% or are you with the 94%? We need to do something. So when we look at the average performance, those are the age numbers. Between the age of 25 and 35, they are working, the majority of them. The slide on the top left, this is home. They buy a nice smaller Nyana car, but soon enough they want to go stay at a flat on their own because they're not working. They want to be independent. They spend a whole lot of money on gadgets. They buy new clothes. Beautiful shoes, Kik and Boboza. There's a beautiful wedding gown there because she's 24, 25. She's looking for a blesser to marry her. The thing is, you're laughing. The thing is, they're not ready financially, hey? So, once they adopt this behavior, on the next slide, we're going to see what the income statement shows. If you look on the extreme, this is my right, this is my left, it's your right. That's what they own, what they have, what's their assets. Very little, as you can see. Maybe there's some bit of clothing and some furniture worth 16,000 rand. But you look on the other side, what they owe, or their liability is, it's growing. The credit card is working. They bought a car. They are renting, some of them. Home loan is for a very few. Look at the debt. 309,000 rand already in the red, right? They're growing up. On the next slide, we see another bracket. Now they've grown between 40 and 55 years of old. Can you see that house? Yeah, they've moved to the burbs. The car has changed. Well, they're drinking something decent now. They don't do Heineken anymore. And the shoes, this is Jimmy Choo, by the way, right? Jimmy Choo doesn't come cheap. I don't know what kind of leather they get. They use from which animals. But as you can see, the shoe was on sale from 5,000 rand to 2,000 rand. And they go, yay, it's on sale. And they swipe the credit card. Hearts are broken there, all right? At all levels. On the next slide, you will see what their statement shows, okay? They might have accumulated some stuff on the other side where what they own. The balance has gone up a little bit, but the balance on this side has gone up significantly, as you can see. Maybe they're married now and they have children. They now have 2 credit cards, and those cards are working. Those cards are almost maxed every month. They have 2 cars, and they keep on changing the cars. No car is paid up. Every second year or so, because there's a latest model of this car, they change the car. The home loan is also very high because now they've moved to the burbs. If you look at now their total balance, 1.8 in the red. This is what they're worth in the red. It's not worth as in positive their money. Next slide. We now are saying there's this thing called consumerism. Retailers and manufacturers and almost everyone that's out on business, obviously they manufacture stuff to sell to you, the consumer. That's why you're called a consumer, because you're meant to consume, or you need to consume all of these things outside. You consume from Pick n Pay and Spar and ShopRite Checkers and everywhere. You consume from retail stores in terms of clothing and. So for these people to demonstrate to you or to promote their items, it comes through promotional goodies and marketing and adverts and all sorts of things. These are all directed at you to entice you, to show you what they have, to show you what's the latest in the market, etc., etc. We as consumers then take up all these things, but in the process, we are developing or growing an unhealthy amount of appetite towards all these things. We almost don't know where to stop. You get a phone call to say, Miss or Mrs. X, you've been such a good client. There's a pre-approved loan of 50,000 rand for you. You look up and you think, is it the angels talking? This can't be true. You know, did you need that 50,000 rand loan? Maybe yes, because something has happened, and maybe no. But what we do, the very next morning, you're the first customer in the bank to sign the papers. You take it all and you run, and you're going to spend it all. Did you at any moment sit down and work out how you're going to pay it back, by the way? You need to pay back the money. We don't sit down and think of that. We get excited by the mere fact that you were approached. At times, we do the opposite. We approach to keep taking loans and loans and loans. So here's the thing. She may be going to a function, maybe to a wedding or to some event, and she just felt, no, they know these shoes. They saw me twice with these shoes. You know, the last event, I was wearing those brown shoes. So earlier on, I bought, I've got my new suit on. They can't see me with the same pair of shoes. No ways. You buy the shoes, you wear the shoes in the parking lot. This is all unhealthy demonstration or behavior of consumerism. You see, the negative side is it plays with the psyche. It changes who you are. It makes you weaker upstairs if you don't know how to control it. Can I ask a question? We all have salt at home, yeah? In the cupboards. We have sugar. We have what? Tomato sauce. We have stuff in the fridge. How many packets of salt do we have at home? One. One. Who has 5 or 3 or 7? You don't need that much salt, do you? So we know where to draw the line with certain items, but with others we don't. So when you open the Pick and Pay thing, they say salt is on sale. You're like, hey, I need salt. And you go, no, we don't do that. Hi? Do you ever buy a bag full of onions for a family of 4? Huh? Yeah, well, rarely, because maybe you want to. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, we normally take the small onion packets of onions. Hey, why I'm making an example of onions is usually when you cook, you use 1 or half a thingy of onion. I'm just making an example. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those that use onions in their dishes. I'm just making an example. So why is it that with certain items, you just feel compelled to go and take? So it's one of the examples that I'm making to say, these are the types of communication and promotion that are meant to entice us. What you do with it is your problem, honestly speaking. But because we don't have discipline, we keep falling for these things. We keep falling for them. Next slide, please. So here's a trick. That intelligent man, Robert Kiyosaki, came up with that model, and the question is, why do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? All right? Or whichever way you want to put it so that it's politically correct. So this side on my left, which is your right, he has a model that says, for the rich, the income is higher. The majority of them, they earn more than we do, as the middle to poor class. And they have less expenses naturally because they do earn enough. At the bottom, by nature of the format above, they will therefore have more assets and less liabilities. Assets are things that belong to them. Liabilities is debt, by the nature of the format above. On the other side, the opposite almost applies. So for the good ones, from middle class to bottom, if I earn 5,000 rand a month and my expenses are almost 5,000 rand a month, I am in trouble. Because should I run out of salt, I need to borrow. Either I borrow the salt or I borrow money to buy the salt. But already I'll be forced to borrow because I have no reserves of my own. I have nothing in my name because all my money almost goes towards expenses. At the bottom, I will therefore, by virtue of the format above, have less assets and more liabilities if I'm not careful. I don't know if I'm making sense. Thank you. Next slide. However, if you saw the topic, the heading, it says, it's not rocket science. Wealth creation is not rocket science. Meaning, even you and I in the room can do it, and we can do it well. We just need to be shown the how. And once we are shown the how, can we please be disciplined to actually execute so that we change the way in which we do things, financially speaking. So when we talk finances, in the room I see different faces representing different categories of life, by age, by income, by everything, right? By something called LSM, Living Standard Measure. We all represent different LSM groups in the house. Having said that, when I say let's talk finances, because of the diverse audience in the room, your minds will run all over the place. Those that have smaller children will think of their kids. Those that don't have children and are still young, they'll think of their own plans and dreams. Those are in the middle, they think of their middle problems. Those are like us and other people in the room that are seeing the finishing line towards retirement. We're thinking of retirement stories, right? And maybe grandchildren and everything else under the sun. So when I say finances, your mind is different from hers and hers and hers. So for us then to be able to have a conversation and ring-fence the conversation around finances, we need to talk to finances chunk by chunk so that we are all on the same page. Am I right? There are 4 pillars of finance. Transacting. The second one is saving and investing. The third one is borrowing. Fourth, insuring. So when we talk to them like that, we will all be in the same space, right? The biggest one and very complicated yet very important is transacting. Because with transacting, it's you as an individual, with your income bracket that you belong to, the lifestyle that you lead, the things that you do, the discipline that you have, or if you don't have, the type of account that you are using, and how you transact on that account. In essence, the type of transactor that you are. Are you a heavy transactor? Are you a light transactor? Do you even know which type of transactor you are? These things we are not taught. We need to learn them so that we are educated and therefore can manage our finances in a better way. Smart. Saving and investing, there's a big difference between saving and investing. And you find at times that people are not even aware the difference between saving and investing. What is common between the two is that effort of putting money away, right? And that's where it ends. Because the one, for saving, you're putting money away for usually a very short period of time, 1. 2, it needs to be very, we call it liquid in financial terms. Liquid meaning easy to access. So that will be your backup funds, that will be your reserves. So that when you run out of salt, you don't borrow money, you quickly swipe. I didn't say go to the ATM, I say you swipe, all right? For that salt and bread and butter, and you come back home, not with popcorn and cheese. And investing, again, is putting money away, but for medium and long-term plans, okay? If I were to go back quickly to transacting and to my earlier slide that spoke about the need and the importance of talking about financial literacy or being financially literate, when I spoke about the dreams and I said the dreams are in short, medium, and long-term plans, those categories are very important. Because if you categorize your dreams and your your dreams and your goals according to those, you are able to monitor and allocate accordingly. Short term is anything between 0 and maybe 3 years. Anything that you will do or acquire or pay off within that period. So if someone wants to buy a car and they're able to put down or to save 1,000 rand every month, they need to raise 10,000 rand as a deposit to the car. It'll take them, 10 months. If I'm able to to save 500 rand, it's going to take me 20 months. It's still within short term. But there are other plans that, for me, could take me up to 4 years, and for you, it's 2 years. So these categories are tailor-made according to your circumstances. Medium term, again, maybe I want to renovate my house. I want to buy a car, could be a medium term. I want to buy something big, right? So it'll take me over 3 years to save for or to invest for. It'll be in your medium term plans. And medium is 3 to 6 years. Long term will be 6 years and above. Education plan, education policies for your children. If you started early, and this is for tertiary, these kids go to school for how many years? 12 years. It's a very long-term plan. And you pay for every single month of the 12 years. It's many months that you need to make sure that you pay that money so that this child has enough money to go to tertiary. If you don't plan well, you're going to fall off the wayside along the way. Come matric, the child has got no money to go to tertiary. Planning for, putting money away for retirement. When do you start? Are you going to start when you're 40? It's way too late. You need to start when you're as young as she is. I don't know how young you are. You look very young to me. She's blushing. You need to start very early, and the benefit of this is the earlier you start, the cheaper it is, because you have many years ahead of you, many months ahead of you. So you benefit from compounded interest, and because you're still healthy. You see, at my age, you don't know what's brewing in my body. So maybe my premiums will be much more expensive than somebody else. Maybe I have high blood pressure, I have diabetes, I have all sorts of things you don't know. You know what I mean? So start putting money away earlier. There's another example I wanted to make on long term. But we understand short, medium, and long term goals. And your plans, so these are the goals, and the goals must be smart. Simple, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic, and time-bound. You need a time frame. I'm saving so much for this. I need this much by this date. Thank you. Smart, simple, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. For you. And you have yours for you. If you don't have them like that, they end up in the dreams. When you wake up in the morning, the dream is gone. You dream of something different tomorrow. So, to savings, to investment, it matches the plan. To savings, it matches the plan. When you talk borrowing must also match your plans. Do you need a loan? Or do you want the loan? You see, loans are meant to stand you good. Loans are meant to help you financially for the things that you don't have the money for immediately. But it has to be for needs, not wants. So your friend is having a party for a 1-year-old child, and they say the theme is white. You go crazy looking for a white outfit. By the way, the party is for a 1-year-old. I'm just saying. You buy everything white, all new. Is it necessary? I'm just asking a question. But these are the things that we do, and we end up in debt. Little by little, we get consumed and over-indebted. And the coming out thereof is a problem. So borrowing, or credit, as it's called, financially speaking, is good. It is there for a purpose. Who of us in the house or in the premises has got enough money to buy a house for cash? Not many of us, eh? That is why you'll take out a home loan. You need to budget for it, by the way. Yeah? Dream well, plan well, budget. So that you pay for that home loan for however long it's going to take you every single month without skipping a payment. Do you get my point? So borrowing is important for the right reasons at the right time. Affordability is important. That is why you get declined if the bank is not happy with what they see, because they know you're going to have a problem. They then have a problem needing to chase after you, where you see those numbers, those numbers that you don't respond to. Those numbers where you're like, hey, this one is so annoying. You know, this friend of mine. No. It's that lady that's going to ask you, ma'am, it's the 8th of the month you haven't paid. When are you going to pay back the money? You don't want to be chased like that. It's irritating. Plan well, budget well. If it's not within your income bracket, if it's not within your pocket, you're not going to die without it. Avoid and get rid of societal pressure. Get rid of the unhealthy competition. Your neighbor bought a new fridge that dispenses something. It's big, it's huge. You're like, I'll show her. Hers is silver. I'm going to buy a black one. That dispenses, it has 2 dispensers. Mine will have 2 dispensers. It will sing when you open the door. Yeah, that's how we roll. So your friend at work comes with a black jacket. You see Eunice's jacket, you're like, I'll show her. I saw a much better one than hers. As soon as we adopt those mentalities, it makes us behave like crazy monkeys, I'm sorry. Because when you do something to impress other people, you behave in a very foolish manner. Okay? I remember when the red-soled shoes came into fashion. Shoes were just taken off in the middle of a meeting just for no fun. And then your foot is itching, but you have the shoe on top of the table so that people can see that actually the sole is red. Yeah? So when you buy a jacket of a certain brand, your back will be itching. Friend, here, just help me here. You know, like there. So that the jacket is on the table and it's inside out all of a sudden so that people can see the label. I'm talking from experience. I do these talks everywhere and I've seen things, I've heard things. So this consumerism, if we do not control it, it will control us. It will make us do stupid things, which are costing us money-wise. There's a saying that says, we spend money we do not have to buy things we do not need, to impress people we do not know, or people that don't care about you. Who's dumb in this whole process? Me. Because come month end, no one is going to help me pay my debt. Yet I'm busy creating more debt for myself to impress you guys. We use money we don't have to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't know, or they don't care about us, or they don't like. It's a problem, a big problem. That is why stats show that most people are over-indebted and aren't able to pay back all their debt. And they cannot come out of the debt spiral because we haven't stopped. Much as we know that we are in trouble, but we cannot stop the habit. We cannot come out of that loop because the very people that I'm trying so hard to impress, they're going to laugh at me tomorrow when I stop doing the foolishness that I'm doing today. So you're doomed when you do, you're doomed when you don't. When you're flashing your fashion, they'll talk about you. When you stop flashing the fashion, they'll still talk about you. So can we not stop and woosa and have a moment to say, my goodness, who am I pleasing here? Can I start today and please myself? Can I start being smart? Can I be important in this equation for myself and maybe for your family and for your future? Can we discard external people in the transaction? Because then the transaction is upside down. It's all crooked and everything. It's not right. If you continue wanting to impress people, continue wanting to do things so that you are spoken about, it is wrong. It actually points back at you to say, maybe there is something very wrong with you. Is it self-esteem? Is it lack of love? You're lacking something if you cannot be happy with who you are and what you have. Maybe you can't be happy if you're poor. Be content for that particular time and work smart towards improving your situation. But this thing of being crazy and wanting to impress people is the dumbest thing under the sun. It is very costly. It is not healthy. So we spoke about transacting, we spoke about saving and investing, we just spoke about borrowing, and the last one is insuring. You see, insuring is important because when you take out an insurance policy of any nature, you are transferring the risk to someone else who is specialized in looking after whatever. So when you buy a car and you take out insurance for your car, you are saying, in the event I'm involved in an accident, whether I caused it or somebody caused it, but my car is damaged, I need someone to come to the party and sort the mess out, because I won't be in a position to look after it myself. You then take out an insurance policy, which you promise in that agreement that you're going to sign to pay every single month for the policy to remain running. You skip a month, you're in trouble, because you are now against the agreement, isn't it? That is why you could be paying your insurance policy for 3 years and 8 months. On month 9, you don't pay your premium because you went to a party and you bought new shoes and your new outfit. So you skipped your payment. On your way back from the party, you have an accident. You quickly whip out your phone and you call your provider. And they say, excuse me, ma'am, you did not pay last month. Yeah, don't tell me that, but I've been paying for 3 years. Like, yeah, but last month you didn't pay. Because the agreement is you pay. We forget those things. And then we come to the bank and want to take off your clothes. It's not a good sight, eh? Imagine me taking my clothes off in the banking hall. It won't be healthy. Some people may go blind. It's not healthy. Let us know what our agreements are. Do not buy what you don't need. You see, in insuring, we'll talk about being over-insured and being under-insured. What does it mean? We'll talk about it one day. I don't have time to explain today. Again, the importance of being financially smart. Let's learn these things so we know. So if you have those 4 pillars well scrutinized and you can dissect them and you have what we call a helicopter view, like a bird's view, you're standing on top and you're looking at all these 4 pillars and you're like, oh, here, I'm fine. I need some work here. Here, I need this and I need that. And you have your plans and your goals written down. Can the goals be removed from the head, from the dream, and be on a piece of paper? Because in that, you almost are committing to yourself, isn't it? Yeah? So they need to be written down. And written down in that SMART thing that we spoke about. And the plan is making sure that you don't fall out of the schedule that you've written down for yourself. The very important step, therefore, is budgeting. Every single month, sit down, look at your finances, allocate the money where it's supposed to go according to the plan and according to the dreams. All right? To make an example, because we don't budget, we budget in the head, and you know that I get paid 23,000 rand. Yeah, those things will come off those debit orders. You don't even know how many there are. You don't know the total. But you saw a dress, and this one has got a party. You want to go to the party. And this one's uncle is getting married, and you're also going with all the colleagues at work. You don't even know Uncle Joseph, eh? But because you work with her, and it's her uncle getting married, and you. All these things that I've just mentioned now are expenses. Did you budget for them last month that you're going to need that money this month? If you didn't budget, that means automatically you're going to be short this month, isn't it? What's going to suffer? One of your payments is going to suffer. How are you going to make sure that you catch up the following month? Because if you skipped a payment this month, you're not covered if it's an insurance policy. You didn't buy groceries at home if you took groceries money. You owe your school because you use your child's school fees when you went to the wedding. You're in arrears, and they charge you interest. I see some guilty smiles. I'm not going to look at people right now. I see people smiling and they're looking up. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Can we just talk about these things that we do? No name attached. Don't worry. Just talk about these things that we do. And it's because we need to be in the moment and own up so that from here on, we're going to rectify these things. We do them because we're not guided. It's fine. That's why we have this program to talk about those things. So if you're not disciplined and you do not budget, that is why we look the way we do, financially speaking. Right? Next slide. Let's make a financial U-turn. What does that mean? If you're driving to a destination, for instance, if I had to drive from the airport, and I was given directions how to get here. And at some point, I've taken a wrong turn. Will I come out to this place? I'll probably come out by the ocean somewhere. I'll be by the beach if I took a wrong turn. And upon realizing that I'm not on the right route, what do I need to do? I need to make a U-turn. And somebody must tell you, no, ma'am, you turned too early, or you missed your turn. Go back, and at this robot, go right. And this thing will be on your left. You know what I mean? Can we adopt and apply the same principle with our finances? The areas where you are doing wrong, or the areas where you're running short, the areas where you keep making mistakes, the areas where you're not disciplined on, can we make a financial and conscious U-turn? How are we going to identify these areas then? In your budgeting process, you have your bank statements in front of you, isn't it? If you're not in the habit of doing that, print at least 3 months' bank statements and put them in front of you. I need to make a disclaimer and warn you up front and say that exercise is not going to be very comfortable, right? But you need to have that meeting with self. Have that meeting with yourself. Have an honest conversation with yourself. Please make sure that you're sober. I beg of you to be sober. Otherwise, you're going to see more zeros. You're going to see zeros that you don't have. But have that meeting with yourself. Get yourself a black book where you do your financial indabas in the book. If you go through the statement, you will identify your transacting pattern. You will see transactions or areas where you're wasteful with your money. You will therefore identify areas where you are able to cut down on, like groceries. You are able to cut down on groceries, just stick to the basics. The reason why we're doing that, we're trying to release some change so that we start paying a little extra to the debt that we have. When we talk about saving, people say, save from what? Because I never have any surplus at the end of the month. I'm always short. That is why I take more loans. Does that not pain you? It sure does. Let's make a plan, ladies. Let's make a financial U-turn. Make sacrifices somewhere so that you change the situation, okay? And let us stick to that. We need to set financial goals, like I said, in this U-turn that we're talking about. So for those that are not in the habit of, for those that have not sat down to draft their financial goals, please do that. Because this is now putting your dreams on paper. And the next is having a plan to say, how are you going to make sure that your dreams are achieved? And the third step is budgeting every month. And budgeting is that tool that helps you make sure that your finances are channeled to the right places. Then you can have a party with a change. If there's no change, you wait for Christmas. It's going to be tough and rough maybe for the first year or 2 years for some people. But let's work towards making the change, rectifying the situation. Another important factor to consider, and I really, really beg you to maybe make an effort towards that. Have a conversation with your family about finances. Doesn't matter how young your children are. They will get to the habit of knowing that mommy and daddy, or mommy and whoever talks about finances. You see, children learn by seeing and hearing, isn't it? So they know that, there she's going for the black book. She's going to talk about money. They could be 3 or 2. They keep hearing the conversation. Those words stick to their minds. Those children are going to be much smarter than you when they grow up. I bet you that. Because you start having the conversations and the disciplines with them while they are young. This very privilege that you and I did not have, that is why we look the way we do today. Can we make sure that our children don't grow up making the mistakes that we did? Can we start by correcting our own steps, correcting our own behaviors, so that our children can be smarter? Our children would have a beautiful financial future. Have that conversation with your children. Let them be responsible in some way or the other towards the household finances. Food. Teach them not to be wasteful with food. Teach them to look after their toys. I hope you do. I know you do. And when they break your car, you're like, Mzala, you're going to have to wait. Hey, That one is broken. You see, it's broken. You're going to have to wait a very long time. I don't have money to buy another one. But you have a healthy conversation. Do not scream at them, because nothing is absorbed when you scream. You need to talk to them calmly to say, when I buy you a toy, my child, look after it. Because you see, mommy spent money to buy you the toy. I won't have money for maybe 6 months or so. Or I can't buy you another toy. You have this one now. Or you have 3 toys. That's enough. If you break it, unfortunately, I won't have, you see, I have to buy milk. I have to pay for crèche or school fees. I have to do this and do that. You see, then mommy's money is finished, my child. So help me, right? Help mommy so that mommy looks after the money. You see, you're using psychology. And the child is sitting calmly and listening to you like, shame, this poor soul. So if I dismantle this car, hey, it's a problem for me, it's a problem for mommy. When you have a proper, healthy, calm conversation, they listen and they absorb. Your kids going to school, they get pocket money. And when we go to schools and have these conversations, those children tell us the amount of money that you guys give them. Oh, by the way, they tell us a whole lot of secrets at home, eh? When you fight and when you lovey-dovey, they tell us. So when you and daddy had a fight, then the poor child knows that, oh goodness, tomorrow I'm not getting pocket money because these two are not talking to each other. Okay. Again, when I'm saying what you do at home, what your children witness at home, it stays somewhere, it records somewhere in their heads. So make sure that whatever is happening in that household is healthy for your children. Teach them to look after their money. If they get 10 rand every day, have a conversation, my child. How much exactly do you need at school? Because when you leave home, you've eaten. When you come home, you know, there's bread and stuff. So actually, how much can you save? You want to use 5 rand and save 5 rand? Let's put the 5 rand away. And where does that 5 rand go? Be honest with your child. If you're going to open an account for them, show them the card. And from time to time, share with them that your money is growing, my child. It's growing. So in December, you remember that sneaker that you want? I'll help you buy it, but we'll see how much you have. You've made a promise to the child. You don't go breaking it now. Okay? And obviously, as they grow older, they have that habit. So it's something that the whole household needs to be working towards. We usually hear complaints. They say the husbands are looking after the money, the ladies someone said to me, it's like working on a leaking bucket system. The poor man has got a bucket, the tap is running, he's trying to fill the bucket with water, you standing with needles, pricking the bucket every month, and the bucket is leaking. You know those parcels that come through the door, the back door, and those other... Oh, you know what I'm talking about, eh? You know those shoes that come in the dark? And when you wear them, it's like, oh, babes, I don't know. It's just, honey, you forgot. Remember when you went, where were we, by the way? I was with you, man. I know. You saw these shoes. You know these shoes. And he's like, babes, red ones. I've never seen. Like, babes, but you forget, eh? No, you bought them yesterday. On his credit card, maybe. It's those things that, if not planned for, it's the leaking bucket. Okay? We'll talk about those things. If need be, you can consult a financial planner, just so they help you, just to make sure that everything is fine. But before you have a meeting with a financial planner, you need to have had that meeting with yourself. You see, the financial planner or financial advisor is there to help you with your finances. You should know everything about your finances. Do not transfer your endeavors to him or to her. Take ownership. Retain the ownership. They must just guide you to say, okay, you have so much, split your investments, or take this investment and not the investment, pay off this debt and not this debt. You know what I mean? You remain the owner of your finances. Do not transfer your finances, the ownership, to anybody else, or the accountability. Be disciplined. Remain disciplined. Remember those goals that you have, that you wrote down, and there's a timeline for them? Don't you want to make sure that you see them fulfilled? You are the captain of that ship. Remain disciplined and never give up on your dreams. Never. Because you want to see those things fulfilled. So there's a picture there. This one in the pink naturally has got long enough legs to strout in the water. The other one that side is making a huge compromise, eh? And obviously it's not going to get far. In no time they're going to look naked and scarred and like that. But the nice thing, they're still keeping the walk, eh? But they're all scarred and naked. Do not keep up with the Joneses. You cannot. Be content with your situation. Work hard towards changing your own situation and being a better person, you and your family. Otherwise, the BFS program will help you dress up, okay? We shall help you dress up and make you look decent. I am from Johannesburg, like I said earlier on. We have an educator in the Eastern Cape who will then take over and go run with a program for the whole province. Her name is Ayanda Selokoma. She is right here. No. Here's Ayanda behind you. This is Ayanda behind you. Ayanda, come stand in the front. You see, they're confusing you with Alice already. Claim your identity. This is Ayanda Silokoma. She's also been with FNB for a very long time, but running a different role. She is now taking over from the beginning of this month to be the educator in the Eastern Cape province. So those are her details. At your companies, at church, any other large gathering, at school, contact Ayanda, invite her so that she can have the conversations going forward. And those are her contact details. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for inviting me. Let's make the financial U-turn, ladies, and let us be financially smart. I thank you.